Now, at first glance, the Austin 7 doesn't look like much. It's tiny, simple, and almost toy-like compared to modern cars. But don't let that fool you. This little ripper didn't just change motoring in Britain, it changed the entire global car industry. Without the Austin 7, there's a very good chance that affordable motoring as we know it today would have taken a very different path. The story begins in the early 1920s. Cars back then were expensive, complicated, and well out of reach for the average working family. Motoring was mostly for the wealthy, while everyone else relied on bikes, motorcycles, or public transport. Herbert Austin, the man behind the Austin Motor Company, had a bold idea. He wanted to build a car that ordinary people could actually afford to buy, run, and maintain. Not a luxury item, but a proper people's car. When the Austin 7 launched in 1922, it was revolutionary. It was small, lightweight, and mechanically simple. The engine was a modest 747cc four-cylinder unit, producing around 10 horsepower. Now that might sound laughable today, but back then, it was more than enough to get families moving. The car could cruise along happily at speeds that suited the roads of the time, and most importantly, it was cheap to buy and cheap to run. One of the genius aspects of the Austin 7 was its simplicity. The chassis was light, the bodywork was straightforward, and the mechanical parts were easy to work on. Owners didn't need to be master mechanics to keep one running. This made the Austin 7 hugely popular, especially in rural areas where garages were few and far between. In Britain, the Austin 7 quickly earned the nickname, the Baby Austin. Families loved it, small business owners loved it, even doctors and tradesmen jumped on board, using the Austin 7 as a practical daily vehicle. It gave people freedom, independence, and mobility like never before. For many households, it was their very first car. What's really fascinating is how far the influence of the Austin 7 spread. This little British car became the blueprint for small car design all around the world. In Germany, BMW licensed the design and built their own version known as the Dixie. That car played a crucial role in saving BMW from financial collapse and laid the foundations for the brand we know today. Over in France, companies like Rosengart built Austin 7-based cars under license. Even in Japan, early car manufacturers studied the Austin 7 closely when developing their own vehicles. Now let's talk about the driving experience, because despite its humble specs, the Austin 7 has a charm that's hard to beat. Behind the wheel, everything feels mechanical and honest. There's no power steering, no driver aids, no electronics doing the thinking for you. It's just you, the road, and a machine that responds directly to your inputs. The steering is light thanks to the car's low weight, and while the brakes are basic, they're predictable if you drive within the car's limits. The interior is about as minimal as it gets. A simple dashboard, basic gauges, and not much else. But that's part of the magic. The Austin 7 wasn't trying to impress anyone with luxury. It was built with a clear purpose, and it delivered exactly what it promised. In many ways, it reminds us that driving enjoyment doesn't come from screens or software, but from connection. One of the lesser-known sides of the Austin 7 is its motorsport heritage. Yes, believe it or not, this tiny car had a serious racing streak. Enthusiasts quickly realized that the lightweight chassis and simple engine made it an excellent platform for modification. Special-bodied Austin 7s started appearing in hill climbs, trials, and circuit racing across the UK. Some of these modified versions were seriously quick for their time, embarrassing much larger and more powerful cars. In Australia, the Austin 7 also made its mark. Imported and later locally assembled, it became a familiar sight on Aussie roads, especially during the interwar years. Our rough conditions and long distances were a challenge, but the Austin 7's simplicity worked in its favour. Owners could fix them with basic tools, and parts availability was generally good. For many Australians, the Austin 7 represented affordable mobility during tough economic times. As the years went on, the Austin 7 evolved. Different body styles were offered, including saloons, tourers, vans, and even sporty variants. Improvements were made to engines, gearboxes, and suspensions, but the core philosophy stayed the same. Keep it simple, keep it affordable, and keep it reliable. Production of the Austin 7 continued until 1939, by which time over 290,000 units had been built. That's a massive number for the era, and a clear sign of just how successful the car was. Even after production ended, its legacy lived on through the countless designs it inspired. Today, the Austin 7 is a beloved classic. Restored examples are highly sought after, and there's a strong enthusiast community keeping these cars alive. You'll often see them at classic car shows, rallies, and historic motorsport events. Despite being nearly a century old, they're still being driven, enjoyed, and appreciated for what they are. Owning an Austin 7 today isn't about speed or comfort. It's about history. It's about understanding where modern motoring came from. It's about the joy of driving something pure and uncomplicated. In a world dominated by oversized SUVs and increasingly complex technology, the Austin 7 feels refreshingly honest. When you look back at automotive history, very few cars can truly claim to have changed the world. The Ford Model T is one. The Volkswagen Beetle is another. And right there among them is the Austin 7. It proved that cars didn't have to be expensive to be useful. It put the world on wheels and opened the door for generations of affordable vehicles that followed. So next time you see an Austin 7 trundling along, give it a nod. You're not just looking at an old car. You're looking at the foundation of modern motoring, a tiny machine with a massive impact. Thanks for watching Down Under Motors. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the greatest little cars ever made, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more classic car stories, and drop a comment below telling us which automotive icon you want to see next. Until next time, drive safe and keep the passion alive. Australia Car.